Well, I was born and raised in Jackson, Michigan in 1947 in Mercy Hospital. I lived back and forth with my real biological mother and father until differences arose. And my grandmother took me at a young age, about 2 years old. I was raised in this area before this center was built. It was on the other side of this center. It was a community known as the Bottom, before the urban renewal came through. It was 402 Stanley Street between Belden Road and Merriman Street, an old dirt road known as the Bottom. Coming up in this area that I came up in was a real genuine upbringing. When they talked about Martin Luther King and different things, I heard it. But my grandfather was my first Martin Luther King. I never saw a man like him in my life, and I was around him every day. I'm not just saying this because that was my grandfather Ben. My grandfather Ben Hall was a man. My grandmother and grandfather raised me to recognize the truth. They taught me the ingredients of genuine stuff from their life, but they taught me through learning that, it learned me the truth. It learned me to recognize truth. And as I've grown and gotten older, I can see that they had some genuine knowledge in the way they brought me up. My grandfather was, he grew a lot of sons and daughters and grandchildren to benefit this society. Most of my uncles and aunts and all, they were very respectful in this society. They were homeowners. They were respectful. My cousins and relatives are very, very productive in this society. It's just 7 out of 10 black people in this community is my relatives. My uncle was George Edwards. He was a pastor out there where all those storage places was the pasture where the horses and bulls were. That building on Cooper Street and Prospect was Crenshaw's barn. That was a auction barn. That's where my uncle broke horses for movie stars. He was a boy. He was a booking Bronco. Him and his sons. His first cousin was Bill Pickett. That's supposed to be the first black cowboy, period. First cowboy. That was his cousin. But my Uncle George would be in that barn every day. We was kids, and I'd go out there because I love horses. And I'd go out there and eat down and have a cigarette. Boy, better not catch you around this barn. So I couldn't wait till he moved, so I'd get over with the wild horses. But that barn up there is a beautiful history. That area is a beautiful history. You know, most of it was woods back in the day. When I'm speaking on now, it's like 56, 57. You know, it was in the late 50s, early 60s. And we used to swim in Grand River. All of that was clean. Beautiful area. It was just clean. And it's a memory there, you know, like down in here. This is a memory. It's more than just this center. I remember this before this center wasn't here. And this was a community. But I looked at my involvement in that when I was a kid. You know, we couldn't cross Francis Street. Black people couldn't come across Martin Luther King. We couldn't go that way. So we had to fight to go to Parkside. We had to fight to go down Rockwell Street. We had to fight to go down High Street. I said, well, now the conditions has changed, but we have to change with the conditions. We have to stop doing that and start putting something in there. You have to teach a person to do something for themselves so they can give back. So, and faith works when you turn in what's bad for what's good. So I used all of that I heard that through John Willis, you know, different things, but I always, what am I gonna do? That's my first impression. What am I gonna do up here to this MLK? I'm giving a thing now with John Willis about before the urban renewal came down. And you know, I'm naming every spot now, the streets ran all the way through. I want to see that highway look good, you know, the street look good, because I was sitting there all the time. It's gonna be beautiful. And the businesses that's in there, you know, they should give, but you know, $50,000, that's not a lifetime money. Yeah, it's a help. But being in the proper order is the key. You know, if you're not in the proper order, you just fit that, you know, show off thing. If you're listening to this, you should understand what I'm saying. You gotta give back, man. Because if you don't, you're gonna have problems in your own life. I know a lot of people have money. They don't have it anymore because they didn't listen and do right by it. John Willis and the community and the corridor programs, they're beautiful to be here. It's beautiful to be here. They are the key. They're opening up for us, and it's beautiful. And it's amazing. It's just really amazing to know where you lived, what you went through, and the unanswered questions that you really can answer.